Hello everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. It is episode 101 and today I'm starting things off with some slightly bad news. I've really hurt my thumb, okay? I hurt my thumb at jiu-jitsu this morning and not in a cool way either because that makes it sound like it's going to be a lot cooler than it is. During the warm-up at jiu-jitsu, I literally had to go from a seated position to standing up, and I put my hand on the mat to take some of my weight as I stood up, and my thumb popped out of its socket and popped back in. I wasn't doing anything extreme. I was standing up, and my thumb dislocated, and now it really hurts. And I know what you're thinking, that's a shame, but why are you telling me this? Well, for those of you who haven't been around for very long, I mean, first off, this is my little studio, but you may not realise that I play Minecraft a little bit weirdly. That's how I press shift. I press shift with my thumb, and that hurts a lot when your thumb's all wonky. So yeah, if you hear me yelping in pain during this recording session, you know what's happened. Anyway, let's actually do some bits. And those bits are going to require some resources that, yeah, doesn't look like I have too much of. This is all my white concrete. And this is about the extent of a lot of the things that I have in terms of these sorts of building blocks. I really wish there was some way to renewably get gravel in Minecraft. Like, that would be great, without duplicating it, of course. Because taking out the floors of the oceans isn't great, and taking out the gigantic gravel biomes also isn't brilliant. I was also about to say that I really wish there was some way to easily get lots of concrete in Minecraft, but I've just remembered, we're playing in Minecraft 1.14. Why have I not built the TNT-based concrete breakers and TNT, the whole farming unit thing? I'd forgotten about it. We need to get to work on that soon. So I've just arrived at Hermitville, and Grian's house is massive. Look at this place. So I have to be bigger than Iscal's house and Grian's house, because as I say, I need to have the biggest house in Sahara Street here. But blimey, I was not expecting that. Also, out of interest, how is our funding strategy coming along? Ooh. Oh, that's not good. That always makes me laugh. Oh dear. We have a few diamonds, a few. But that's not so great. For those who don't know, we built this store here to hopefully raise some diamonds so that we can fund the rest of the Sahara project back in the original place because it's costing us a lot. The bad news continues. My villager's gone. That's weird because he was blocked up. He was in a boat, there was no way that he could get out. He should have been fine, but whatever. I think Grian's been breeding some together, so hopefully we should be able to get a replacement. Oh, I went to sleep in this bed and for goodness sake, it's awful. Anyway, back over to the building side of things. The first thing that I've done is I've completely removed my house. It is now gone, and I've also removed the trees behind it. Because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my house in an L shape, kind of coming in behind Stress's house, and then going like this, and then also we're going to have to go upwards too. Now, I thought as a bit of a challenge, I would build this totally freestyle. I have not tried out anything in creative mode. I haven't got any pre-plans. Let's just see what we can do. And this is what I've got so far. So this is the start of the entrance hall, the start of our little L shape. So this is going to run backwards like this and then into the tower that is going to be sat somewhere here. So this is where the tall bit is going to be, and then we're going to have the L shape and then the little area off to one side too. And I am liking the way this is coming together already. It's very cool, very Sahara-esque as well, which is good because of course we are on Sahara Street. You know, I've just thought, it's been so long since I've done any form of decorative building project. When was the last one? I've been doing a lot of industrial farms and things lately. Not too much design work. No wonder I feel so rusty. And this is definitely quite a big thing to be building when it's been a while since you've built anything. I mean, I am now taller than Grian's, so we can actually cap this thing off now. I mean, how's it looking? I don't know. Let me place in all of this white concrete here, and then we'll see what the structure actually looks like. And spin around. It actually looks quite cool. So the way that I'm going to do it is I'm then going to expand out a little bit on the sides, and we're going to have that grey concrete going around the edges there as well. So that's going to kind of go up and over like what we've done here with these kind of bands. But I have to say, I think this looks super cool and super futuristic. It's pretty sweet. This might just be one of the ugliest things I've ever created in Minecraft. Might just be. What is that? What is that? I think I've just about managed to improve it after a lot of head scratching and a lot of just pulling my hair out, basically. Forget head scratching, literally pulling my hair out, trying to work out how to do this. I think I've managed to come up with something that looks pretty cool. I mean, it's very modern. Obviously, we're only looking at this half here. This isn't the build. Although that kind of off-axis... I've never considered doing a build like that before. I mean, so I've always seen this as being like a... I'm just going to replicate that on the other side. But the idea of it being off-axis like that, we could maybe do something with that. Like, maybe make that edge wrap around. I'm going to play with some ideas here. I've tried out a few different bits and pieces, and I can't make it work. Not talented enough to make it work. And this was the best one I came up with. And as you can see, it's just not perfect, is it? It's just not quite there. So I think for now, I'm going to stick with symmetry. We're going to have the same thing on this side as well. But, I know it sounds silly, but that idea, I'd never really had that idea before to make asymmetrical builds. So I'm going to try my best to do it in the future because I think it could end up looking really cool on the right building. Now that I have both sides in, it's... It looks like it's like I've got an apartment block all to myself. It's literally, it looks like, I guess, a hotel. I would say a hotel's a good shout, and also, yeah, an apartment block mixed in with a corporate building. And you know what? I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. I think once we get those second bands in on that side as well, and actually build this thing up so it's a tiny bit bigger, it would actually look quite cool. The way that I'm doing the next segments is I'm kind of adding in these loops here that break up the space between these two and also stop it from being segmented so much. So I did kind of consider adding in another thing that works in this kind of chunky fashion here where we have these segments. But then I thought it might be smart to actually have something that unifies the entire build down each side, just so it doesn't look like three things stacked on top of one another. And I gotta say, I think it looks pretty cool. This thing's huge. I can see Grian hopping around my build. This is the scary part. The part where Grian says that my build is ugly. And I'm his neighbour. Well, that's better than what I was expecting. He just told me to try out his Elytra course. Very aggressively, though. I mean, you know, he really shouted that, didn't he? Anyway, I think our build is now all completed. So I've just flown on top of that rooftop to get a better look. And yeah, it's looking all finished. So there it is, standing very tall on Sahara Street. Now the biggest house on Sahara Street. And I gotta say, I mean, it definitely looks cool from these angles. So when you're coming in from the side-ish angle, then it looks good. From the front, it is a tiny bit square. That's the one thing that I will say. Yep, I think that's just because of that outline there. But as soon as you start hitting these sorts of angles, it starts to look really, really cool. I'm proud of this thing. I'm happy with our massive house. We do need to do the interior, but I think I'm going to take a little break from building. In fact, you know what? I think I'm going to go to bed. It's very late. And now it is the next morning, and we are no longer in the Minecraft 1.14 village. Instead, we're in this familiar place. Yes, I'm sure all of you recognize it. This is the Sahara store, and as you guys know, the other day, me and Iskal did a tech test of the system, and it worked. Like, it actually worked. There are a few things, though, that we really need to work on. Thing number one is we need to work on not having the receipts end up in the dispenser, because that is a bit of an issue. And also, we need to work on the payment system. A lot of people have been saying that Sahara is a free shop. And that we haven't covered the payment yet. Yeah, we still need to do that. That's all coming. But first off, we need to remove the receipts from where the shulker boxes end up. Now, one quick word on the payment system is that it's just a receipt-based thing. So when you get your items, you'll get a bunch of receipts, and then the number of receipts that you have and the number of diamonds displayed on those receipts is the number of diamonds that you owe. And because we play on the Hermitcraft server and all of us are friends, I trust that all of the hermits will actually pay those diamonds, so we don't really need to do too much redstone here. But with that being said, crazy automatic payment systems and all sorts of calculations aren't totally off the cards, and it's something that me and Iskan have been discussing, but that'll be a future upgrade. So what are we thinking here then? Well, we can't do an item filter, a regular type of item filter, because all the receipts coming from the warehouse are different. We've got an independent receipt for every single item in the warehouse, which means that we would need 43 item filters to make that work, so that's not going to function. Instead, we're going to need a non-stackable item filter to sort out the shulker boxes from the receipts, because obviously the receipts are stackable, whereas the shulker boxes aren't. So the way that we're going to have to do that is we're first off going to have to get all the items out of the minecart chest using a system a little bit like this. So this is going to stop our minecart right there. I think I've built that correctly, or it might be slightly off. No, it should get stuck. And then we're going to have a comparator running out of there, so this will know when our minecart chest is completely empty, and then when it is, it will then travel across like this. All of the shulker boxes will be put back into the chest, and all of the receipts will go in a hopper line into a chest somewhere over here. This has ended up being more of a mess than I was expecting. Okay, that's that. Then we've got stackable item filters and all sorts. I've also run out of regular rails. What an annoying thing to run out of. But now that I've added those in and also added in a few extra details, I think this might potentially work. So if we put some items inside here, so there is a non-stackable item, there are some stackable items. Let's put a few more non-stackable ones in here. We should see that they all get separated out. So that's very good, because that means that shulker boxes will end up down here, and they will be ready to reload into this chest, which, as you can see, well, the minecart chest will fall down here, which, as you can see, the powered rails have been switched off, and they will switch back on once the chest gets fully loaded. So that's part of that system, and then the minecart chest will travel across and do all of the extra logic stuff that it has to do over there, and then these receipts will make their way probably somewhere over here, and then maybe into the side wall. I don't know. Where do we want the receipts to go? I don't know. To be honest, I think that this could actually be quite an elegant solution. So if I just fill in these blocks again, that is where the receipts pop out. Our hopper line is hidden behind all of these yellow concrete blocks, which are there all along. I mean, that seems like the logical way to go. You choose your items, you order, you then get your items, and you pay. Now, the other big bug that we had in the system was the fact that a spider spawned on the rail, and that stopped the minecart, so I'm just going to run through and light up all of the available spaces to hopefully stop that from happening again. And as you can see, I'm not exactly doing it in the prettiest way, because I think we all agreed that my rail is ugly. And it really is ugly. So I imagine this is only temporary, which means that there's no point in me doing anything beautiful. We also need to stop items from flying out of the decoders, which is, yeah, just as simple as placing in a block above the droppers. So I think that should be all obvious flaws in Sahara all ironed out. Now, I am expecting this system to still chuck out some strange results, because obviously it's pretty complicated, but we have now fixed up all of the problems that we had in the error report, which is very, very exciting, because that means that we could be on the verge of finally opening it. No, we might actually be able to open Sahara in this season of Hermitcraft. I still can't quite believe that I'm saying that. Anyway, we have more plans. So let's get ourselves fully repaired up over at the Guardian farm as per usual, and then head on over back to the Minecraft 1.14 village, because currently my shell of a house, I mean, it's not looking very homely, is it? But before we go there, I thought I would gather up some wood so that I can put some birchwood floors into my house, because I think that will look really good in there. And I've just thought, I have not gone out and gathered wood for For ages, we have the wood shop. It's like 1 diamond per stack of wood. What am I doing? So now that that wood has been gathered, it's time to start placing it in. And already, this is a big improvement. Originally, I had stone slabs on the floor, and it just didn't really feel that homely. Whereas now, this feels very grand. How many floors is this going to have, by the way? I have no idea. Well, for the ceilings, I thought we would use stone slabs. And actually, I've totally run out of them, which in Minecraft 1.14 is a bit of a problem because you need to smelt stone slabs. Thankfully, though, we have got this ridiculous super smelter, which will cover all of this stone within around about 2.5 minutes. It's impossible not to love redstone contraptions like these, isn't it? I mean, 148 items every 10 seconds smelted. It definitely comes in handy when you're like me and use probably around about 130 stone slabs every 10 seconds. Anyway, I think we are almost done on this build here. So the way that I've done it is I've kind of broken up the floors a tiny bit by actually having rather large roof spaces. So instead of having just one layer of blocks that make up the floor of the next level and also the ceiling of the layer below, we actually have quite large areas, aka this space right here, between the ceiling and then the floor of this one, which just makes it feel a little bit more solid. And I've got to say, I was a little bit worried that it was going to look terrible from the outside, but it's actually improved it massively. As I say, looks a lot more solid now. So to get between each layer, I'm going to use staircases, but wow, this is a long staircase. We're currently between floors right now. I guess if I create kind of like a platform here. Oh, I don't know what to do. After a lot of head scratching, I managed to get it worked out, and this is what we've got to get between all of the layers. So here we are on the top floor. Everything is looking cool. We have a wonderful view. Hold up! He's built a chimney that's taller than my house! Hang on a second. You've got to be kidding me. He has. He's built it taller. I don't want to spoil too much because I don't know when his episode comes out, but his house is now bigger than mine. We need to do something about this. Okay, I think we need a television mast. So this is how we're going to be able to watch TV and listen to the radio. And that definitely makes our house bigger than Grian's. I'm committed to being the biggest house on Sahara Street. Okay, this is if he then extends past this, then we're going taller. Perfect. Anyway, now that that's all sorted, I think it's time to start getting the interior in place. Now, as you can see, I've started placing in some bits and pieces. Nothing too crazy. I just want to make it look not like an empty shell, essentially. That's the goal here. I have no clue what's going on that level, by the way. Obviously, this will be the bedroom. But what do you put on a third floor? I've never had a third floor before. I don't know what you put on them. Well, I've ignored that for the time being, and I've just worked on the first floor. Now, I gotta say, this was looking pretty uninspiring until I started adding in all of the lights and things, and now it's ended up really coming together. I mean, obviously, it's nothing too special, and that's because this house is literally just for my villager. I mean, he doesn't need to live in luxury. But I gotta say, this looks pretty smart. Really cool. Kitchen, nice lighting, nice chill out zone there. I would happily live here. And I've also thought of something to put on the third floor, which is like a games room type thing. I reckon that's the way to go. This might just be the most precariously placed dining table on the planet. I mean, I wouldn't want to eat food here. That's a little bit terrifying. But then next to that, we've also got TV. We've got the seats, coffee tables, you know the drill. And then finally, we just have the bedroom. And this is going to be really, really easy. I also thought it would be smart to add in a toilet, at least somewhere, because otherwise our villager is going to run into some issues. And here is a toilet roll holder. It's funny, you can... Minecraft is a bit like that. That has become a toilet holder now in my brain. As long as you say it with enough confidence, it becomes what you say it is. And I would say that's it. I mean, we don't need anything too crazy up here. We've got a massive bed, jumbo-sized bed. You could literally lie across it and still have room for another half person. So that's definitely worth having. We've got bedside tables, little lamps. We've got side tables, wardrobes. I think the best thing about this room, though, is of course the view of Hermitville. I mean, check out this. It is a pretty sweet view, isn't it? Some cool builds. We can actually see the Sahara Express store from up here as well. We can watch customers coming and going. It's very, very cool. I am so glad. I'm so glad. The child in me is very glad that I waited until the other members of Sahara had built their houses on Sahara Street so I could come in and build the biggest one. I mean, you know, it's one of those things. You have to have the biggest house on the street, don't you? I mean, seriously, look at this. Oh, I give up.